Hello, everybody, and welcome to Through the Mists, episode 5, I believe. Unless anyone has any objections, we'll jump right in. Does anyone have any announcements or anything to say today? Hi, baby Celeste.
Ladies.
Hey, Celeste joining us today. She is a very rare paladin. Maybe she will cast some spells. We don't know. We just don't know.
All right, well, if there aren't any announcements or anything, I'm just going to do a short recap and talk about how at the end of last episode, Lyra was in a large abandoned house in a dining room by herself, and she had noticed a form that seemed to be hiding under one of the sheets covering the multiple chairs. And so when she went over there to uncover it, there was a giggle, and then nothing was under the sheet. So in a fit of she went around and started ripping the sheets off of all of the chairs. Does that sound about right so far? Okay, so meanwhile, while that was happening, Twiggy was in a large parlor that had a table with some kind of game or cards or something on it, but with the sounds that Twiggy was hearing throughout the house, you were currently hanging over one of the doorways, ready to attack whatever was going to come in. And Dizzy and Lilith had found each other in what seemed to be another kind of like study, and they were just meeting up when everyone all of a sudden hears, Lyra, do you think would there be like a shriek? Would you do anything?
Have you met Lyra? She's really gonna shriek? No, I mean, okay, there's a difference between doing something and shrieking. She will probably loudly pick your favorite expletive and there it is.
Yeah, I mean, you could technically it doesn't have to be like a it could be like a
heard the word shriek. Yeah, right. And I was like, no, she's not a she'd probably be like, oh.
Okay. So, Lyra, do me a favor, make a strength saving throw.
Oh, we're starting great here. Okay, strength saving?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, holy
Perfect.
shirt balls.
Perfect. It wasn't quite
fantastic.
Right? So essentially what happens is there is as you look over and you see that little red something that was under the chair that you thought you saw the child in, the sheet that you're holding that you just ripped off of the chair in front of you suddenly wraps around your head, and you're like, fuck! And then it pulls, and it's like very jarring. It pulls and flips you onto the table. You are stunned, and you're now laying like on your back, and then it like you can feel yourself drug in essentially a circle. So you're in the same spot, but you're like flipped around, and then you can feel like the candelabras hit your head.
Many expletives are coming from this house.
So
just absolutely like, what the, let me go, what the, like she's just like not pleased.
So there's a lot of thrashing, a lot of shouting.
Oh, it's very loud.
Right? Okay.
Clanging of candelabras probably echoing through the house, like thuds of chairs that she's kicking along the way. Just
so there isn't
the
even
rogue is no longer quiet.
Right. There isn't even a check for the rest of you to hear this from off in the rest of the house from where you are. Twiggy, it's coming from this doorway over here, and Dizzy and excuse me, Lilith, it's harder to tell exactly where. Like, it's obviously outside of this room, but it's off in the house rather than outside of the house. You hear the smashing sound, and then something being like, it sounds like something's being drug through a bowling alley, and there's a lot of shouting going on. What does everyone do besides Lyra, who is stunned?
Well, I'm gonna look over at Dizzy and shake my head because I have a feeling, it's one of our people. Like, of course, it's probably Lyra. And then like give Dizzy the knowing look, like we should go find her and start heading out.
Okay.
Or if you light something on fire.
Dizzy, what do you think?
Oh yeah, I'll tag along with.
Okay.
Okay. And Twiggy, what are you doing?
Well, all the noise is coming from the right hand side of this room
Correct.
now instead of the left. So if anything's going to be charging through, it's going to be from that door. So I'm going to move myself over.
Okay.
I'm going to ready an attack against anything or anyone that isn't familiar to me.
Okay. And Dizzy and Lilith, when you get there, go ahead and make me a perception check.
Let's see.
All right.
We're going to do a quick, because you haven't been in that room either, so I just want to double check something real quick.
Did I go through?
They did. Yep, a bunch of them. I'll take your
Bunch
first
of
one, because that was
them.
awesome.
Yeah, it's fine. Thank you.
The first one was an 18 though, so don't
Yeah,
discount that.
I got it now. So
I mean, you can still hear the noises. It's just harder to tell what's going to be the fastest way to get to them. And as you enter this room that you're in right now, you head through there. You do notice that it looks like essentially another sitting room. This one doesn't have no, there is a large fireplace right next to where you're standing, but there isn't like a reading area or anything. It looks more of like maybe a hunting trophy room. There are heads mounted on the walls there's some foxes and some deer, a boar. They all are just like dripping with cobwebs, and there's cobwebs in the top corner. Some of the chairs are like almost like wrapped in cobwebs to the wall, as opposed to just like having a little bit on them. Lilith, you are pretty sure as you walk in, if you go left, it really sounds like it's coming from both ways, but you can hear it if you go left.
Okay.
So it would be this door.
All right. Well, Lilith is pretty disgusted with the nasty rooms. 'Cause,
Yeah.
she's she likes it clean and orderly, pretty chill. This place is disgusting. So Lilith is gonna try another room and follow the noises.
So as you head through that door, that wall definitely has a lot of cobwebs that dangle down, so you kind of have to brush away. It's like Indiana Jones peeling through, and then you see the door and you open it. Twiggy, you can hear a door open, but it isn't this one. It does seem to be right outside in the hall, however.
Oh man, they are gonna get it. They are gonna get it. They don't even know what's about to happen. But man, when that monster walks through that door, I'm gonna stab him in the eye. Holding an action. Oh man, licking my chops.
And Lilith, as you walk through that door, you get this weird, like when a train goes by you, and that change in the sound. It's almost like the sound is all of a sudden behind you, and you hear some like thumping in the wall, essentially kind of right here.
Oh no. Okay. Well, I mean, there's a door right here, right? Is that a door?
That is a door.
I'm gonna assume that it has something to do with that door, so I want to open it.
Okay.
Step on through.
And Twiggy, Dizzy, what is your passive perception?
11.
Okay. You two hear that it's like over here instead of kind of like more, you felt like it was kind of, the sound was spreading out, and now it's like very focal. It's kind of coming from right there. I'm just going to move.
That's kind of where the fireplace was, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm just moving you
Okay.
over your token over there for a moment there, Lyra. Just cause.
That was my first.
Lilith, as you enter, you see this large dining room. It's kind of chaotic. It looks like several chairs have been knocked over. There's sheets just spread everywhere. There's
Signs
a
of a
large.
struggle.
What's that?
Signs of a struggle.
Yeah, there's definitely signs of a struggle, and there's a large streak in the dust that goes essentially the length of the table down the middle. This chair is also laying on the side, but it's also kind of pushed over here, as opposed to just like knocked over like a bunch of the other ones are.
Can I see if there's other like dust that's been kind of smeared away further, like if something was dragged out of the room?
Sure, make an investigation check. Are you gonna stay there? Or are you gonna move into the room?
I'm gonna stay there for a little bit.
Okay. And Dizzy, what
Yes.
would you like to do while Lois is trying to figure out what happened?
And you said I heard it from like.
Yeah, it almost
There?
like seemed like it was coming from the wall all of a sudden, as opposed to just kind of in that area.
All right, I will head over in that direction,
Okay.
and then. So would it be in the room behind me, or?
It's kind of hard to tell. You could do a perception check. Your
All right, I'll do a
11.
perception check.
Yeah, your 11 wasn't quite high enough. Like your passive isn't quite high enough. But let's do a 12. I mean, it really sounded like it came from this corner as you came into the room.
All right. Well, I'm gonna investigate the corner.
Okay. Outside, like in this hallway.
Yeah.
Okay. The corner is also very dusty. It has a few cobwebs in it, not nearly as bad as the other room. There's like little pieces of rug that look like they've been chewed off by rats and like kind of drug over there. There's a few rat holes that go into the wall, but there doesn't appear to be any signs of what made the noise there.
Okay. Well, then I will go into the room, I guess, behind that wall.
Okay. Lilith, do you mind? Oh, so you're gonna go back into the more cobwebby room.
Oh yeah.
Okay. As you head past the fireplace, you definitely hear like a noise coming from it. There is a stone wall there, but it almost seems like there's, as you're looking, you walk into the room, and as you like walk by this fireplace, little bits of ash and like can't think of the word. Had this problem last time too. The stuff that builds up in fireplaces. Soot. Thank you. The soot is kind of crumbling and falling down, and you can hear that noise like kind of thumping up the fireplace.
All right. I'm gonna investigate the fireplace then.
Okay. I'm not laughing at you, Lyra. I'm laughing for you.
I don't know if that makes that better or worse.
So Dizzy, as you look up, you see that the wall that is the back of the fireplace isn't very tall. It's just a little taller than you, and it seems to open into a larger flue or like chimney. There's a little bit of light that spills in over the wall.
Tell me that.
What's that?
No, keep going.
But
Keep
with your
going.
I guess I'll climb through
Okay.
the fireplace.
like
Oh
through
my
with your
God.
dark vision, you can see past where that little bit of light trickles in, and looking up, you
Uh-huh.
can see what looks like a body kind of
No.
bouncing back and forth.
No.
So, real quick, somebody is echoing. Oh, it's Lyra.
Always me. It's always me.
Sorry.
Used to be me. It's fine. I know the
Can
pain.
okay. Hopefully that's better.
Let's see.
La 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 la.
Spirit.
So yeah,
Somebody else needs it.
so Dizzy, you can definitely hear, or you can definitely see this like body kind of like bouncing back and forth. It's moving a little bit, but there's something kind of a dirty white. You can't really tell because it's your dark vision. But you can definitely see like a lighter shade of something that has no real form that seems to be wrapped around this body's head and is dragging it up the chimney. So while you start to climb, I'll have you do an athletics check. And while you're doing that, what's that?
It's like, would you be yelling to anybody that you found something by chance?
Well, while this is going on, Lilith might find her own stuff, because with your investigation of 8, maybe not. So you're looking around the room, and you definitely see there are signs of struggle, that things have been moved around, but you hear, even without really looking around, you definitely hear more noise coming from this direction.
Well, is this fireplace like a 2-sided fireplace by any chance?
So you want to go look in?
I want to go look in.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you look in, you see a back of it. You don't see through it.
Okay. We'll try and find where Dizzy went.
Okay. And Dizzy, what was your athletics check? Nice.
Ooh.
So Lilith, as you're looking in there, all of a sudden, like a foot kind of appears, like at an angle. So it's like stepping on something, and you realize that there is a wall in there, but it's not a very tall one. It's just more of a privacy separator, and there must be like a larger chimney on the other side, or above it. Sorry.
I'm just like yelling, like, Dizzy, is that you?
Yeah, it is.
What are you doing in the fireplace?
There's a weird body floating upwards.
A weird body.
Okay. See. Let's see here. I have Eyes of Night.
Okay.
And I can give it to one willing creature to see that's within 10 feet of me. It lasts 1 hour. And let's see, once you share it, you can't do it again until you finish a long rest. Unless you expend a slot.
Okay.
All right.
And what does that do?
That gives dark vision out to a range of 300 feet.
Whoa.
So you know that Dizzy can see in the dark, but for only 60 feet.
Yeah.
Your eyes turn into pure pupils.
Right?
You can see as if it's like dim light.
Okay. Are you going to give it to
300
Dizzy or yourself?
I'm going to give it to Dizzy. Why not? Because he's already up. You know, they're already up in the chimney doing weird things in the dark.
So, Dizzy, you can see all the way to the top of the chimney. You can tell now that there are definitely some other exits from this chimney on floors above you, and you do see that body like disappear through one of them.
All right. I'm gonna climb up and head to, or I'm gonna try to follow the body.
Okay. So I'll keep your athletics that you had with the 16. So you essentially just find there's like kind of handholds in there, probably for the chimney sweeps. So you figure out how to use those, and you start climbing after them. While this is going on, Twiggy
is
those noises that you heard have kind of faded away.
Yeah, it's a plan. It's a ploy. They're actually outside the door, and they're planning to burst in and get the jump on me. But joke's on them, because I'm getting the jump on them, because I'm smarter than they are, and they don't even realize that. I'm going to burst through the door to get the jump on the jump.
Okay.
Yeah, although, like, I'm, this big. So like,
So you flitter down and like you turn the doorknob and you kick it, and the door goes.
victory. Yeah. I'm gonna zip back and then just shoulder my way into the door just to get a full wide swing.
Sure.
And yeah, rapier out. Ah.
Okay. Remind me, do you have dark vision?
Nope. The Fae do not,
Okay.
for some amazing reason. It's probably because it's always sunny in the Feywild.
It's always
probably
sunny
something like
in
that.
the Feywild.
It's not
All right.
Titiana. It's actually Danny DeVito. You know, is
Right.
the Fae. Yeah, it's just Danny DeVito. Can you imagine?
So you smash your shoulder into the door.
Yeah.
It opens more aggressively. You feel better
That's
about
like,
it.
Yeah.
Lilith,
So
you
weird.
do hear like a come from that hallway over here.
I'm gonna yell out, Twiggy, Lyra, is that you? And see if it's loud enough that Twiggy will hear.
Oh, I'm sure. I can hear you from there.
Yeah.
She went up the chimney. I'm just gonna say, Disney went up the chimney.
Twiggy, you can tell that her voice is coming from this doorway, which is open, and there's a little bit of light spilling in from a window that you can see right there. Other than that, there's no light around you outside of the room that you're in.
This is clearly an attempt to get me to let my guard down, obviously. So I'm gonna burst into the other room to get the jump on the illusion that is clearly trying to steer me down a dark path. I'm just gonna
Clearly.
burst in here.
Lilith, having been around Twiggy, you can choose to be surprised or not.
I am not in the least bit surprised, but I will look over, nod to Twiggy, and then look back into the fireplace.
Okay.
That's the
Not
signal. That's the right
surprised at
signal.
all. Glad you could join us.
So meanwhile, and everyone's gonna end up getting moved. Like you'll see what's going on, but you're not actually on another floor. Doo, doo, doo.
I will fly up the chimney now that I've confirmed that she is not a seven-headed demon lady.
Yes.
You know, if she was surprised, then I would know that she was, you know, a bad guy.
Lyra, can you see the new map?
Yes, but I was like, the quality of that looks like I need my glasses on, but then it loaded in a little bit.
No, that's what everything looks like.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't be surprised. Worst rental ever.
It's all the cobwebs.
Yes. Yes, I can.
So I need you to make another strength saving throw.
Great. Love that for me.
Nice.
Whoa!
You know what? Lyra is so pissed that she's essentially being dragged by the head.
Right?
And first of all, not only does she not like being like, I mean, she's not grappled, but you know, like, let me go. But also, for her, it's a child. And Lyra doesn't do children.
Right.
Like, she's like, absolutely not. I'm like, no,
So Lyra, essentially what happened, you got flipped onto the table and then drug across it, and then at the end of the table there was this like sudden moment where you felt weightless, and then you hit the ground. That was even more stunning, and then you feel like drug off in another direction, and then all of a sudden you're being lifted up by your head, and there's like this bouncing around, and you're like starting to be able to move again, but you just couldn't like get a hold on anything, and you're feeling a little banged up and bruised, but you don't really feel like you took any damage. Like, it didn't hurt you, it was more like, really, it just hurt your pride more than anything. And all of a sudden, like, as you hit the wall again, there's like this moment where you're drug over it, and that there's definitely like a scraping as you hit this corner. You're gonna take 1 point of damage.
Okay.
And then you feel there's something around you, so you reach out and you grab the edges and you just hold on, and all of a sudden the sheet is just pulled from your head, and you find that you are in this fireplace. There is
like inside the fireplace.
So you're technically
Like on the
partway
hearth,
out.
kind of like. Okay.
Yeah, you essentially used the walls of the fireplace to hang on. The sheet whips around for a moment in the other room and then just drifts to the ground. And you can see that there's like a thin chimney that goes down beneath your feet, like your feet are still dangling over it.
Okay.
And there's the rest of the chimney goes above you.
Okay. There's nothing there when the sheet kind of like drifts to the ground, though.
No.
Okay. First and foremost, Lyra will be Lyra and just be like, "Fuck you," like just no. And then she's gonna like take a very cautious step like into the room, like just like there, but she's like looking around this new room because there's clearly not a dining. There's no big table and chairs, so she's just kind of like, okay, where am I? Can she tell like? Presumably, since she's in a fireplace, she can tell she's gone up. Like, can she tell like how far up she's gone? Like, you know,
it's kind of hard to
she just
tell.
kind of get her bearings of like,
right.
Where am I? Like, okay, like what is this new room? Is there anything or anybody around? Just a
Right.
general like, you know.
You definitely feel like you were dragged up, so you're probably up a floor. And as you look around, because you have dark vision, and there's a little bit of dirty light kind of streaming in from the right-hand side of the map there, you notice that there is a bed in that corner over there. Its mattress is sunken in. There's some like, they're probably like a dark maroon is kind of the feeling you get, but there's like a good layer of dust laying over it. The bedding that's spread across it. There's a writing desk up in this top corner. It looks like it's pretty much empty except for like there's a pen, like a quill being held by a holder, and there's a ink bottle sitting there. But again, there's like heavy dust on everything. The chair that's in front of it also has that similar maroonish padding to it.
Okay.
There's a couple of chairs and small side tables, and that's really all you see.
Okay. She's gonna like go over to like the presumably just like sheet that's now like piled on the ground, like in a limp like.
Yeah, it's
pile.
kind of like a where your head was is obvious because it's still kind of twisted up, but other than that, it's just kind of spread out.
She's gonna like half kick it and poke it with her foot.
Sure.
Like, you know, like that. Like she's like half a step backwards and just is like kicking it slightly with her foot. Like, you in there?
So while that's happening, Dizzy, you come to that floor and you peer in, and you can see essentially there's a short drop down from the privacy wall that's above you that splits the chimney into two parts. And you can hear Lyra moving, and you saw Lyra pulled into the other room, and so you know where she is, and as you peek in, she's like kicking the sheet. What do you do?
I'm just gonna look at her and just ask, are you okay? What are you doing to that sheet?
You see this,
Just
like you see Dizzy's
glare,
head
half
peeking
brow, just
over.
like.
And right about that time, Twiggy, because you're flying, right?
Yep.
Twiggy flies up, and that same scenario, so I don't know which direction you want to go. Dizzy is not quite filling the chimney on the one side. You could technically move around, although moving the other direction would be easier. So it's up to you.
Well, the easy path is never the path to go. Plus, I have to make sure that Dizzy is on the level, as well as whoever else is in that room that potentially Dizzy is checking out. So 2 for 1. I'm gonna burst past Dizzy, and then try and position myself. Oh, it's dark. It's a dark room. Crap. So yeah, I burst in, and then I'm blind.
Did you go to the direction Dizzy was going?
Yeah.
There's actually a little bit of light in there because of these windows.
Oh, perfect.
But it's actually dimmer than the dining room. Like the windows are dirtier and it's like let less light in. But
let's get some more light in here. You said that there were those sconces, right?
There are no sconces in here. Not like in that parlor.
Not like in the parlor. Is there like a pile of books?
Not in this room. There is a wardrobe over here that you see.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have the rapier brandished, and I'm gonna still, pop in. It's dark light, but going to brandish that rapier as threateningly as I can, and see if they are both shaken.
Okay. Dizzy, do you keep climbing up?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So as Twiggy goes soaring past you and looks like he's ready to defend you from whatever horrors might lay ahead, what do you do, Dizzy?
I don't know. I try to see what's going on. Cause you say Twiggy just flew past me, right?
Yeah, he's much smaller than you, and so he just like his wings vibrate and leave a little glitter on you as he shoots past you. But other than that, he doesn't impede you or anything.
Could I just grab Twiggy? Like,
yeah.
So you're holding on, but you were kind of climbing out at that point. So you could. We'll do a why don't you do an athletics versus Twiggy's, either athletics or acrobatics?
Acrobatics. Let's see here. Where's the sheet?
oh, it's not a very good one.
It's better than Twiggy's acrobatics. So Twiggy, as you're like,
Wow.
hurrah! There, like a hand clutches around you. Dizzy, what do you do with Twiggy?
I'm just gonna look at him and just ask, like, what's going on? Like, first Lyra's like fighting sheets, and now you're just zooming past. Like, where are we? What's going on?
Unhand me, you monster! I know the truth. I
And I'll just
know.
let him
I know
go.
the truth.
So as Dizzy lets him go and Twiggy kind of flutters around, Lyra, what do you do?
So they've now kind of come into the room, right?
Yeah, they're pretty much like on the map. They're where they're at, but Dizzy's standing just outside of the fireplace. He had
holding
Twiggy,
on to Twiggy,
yeah,
like...
and now Twiggy's kind of like doing that thing where when you release a moth and they're trying to like get their bearings.
Find the moon. Find the moon. Find the moon.
Did the sheet do anything when she kind of like kicked it with her foot at all?
I mean, it did move when you kicked it, but it's from your
Well, yes.
right.
She kicked
It didn't like not move. That would be important too. So
Right, yeah, that would be important. Like you kick something and it doesn't move.
right,
It naturally moved, is what you're saying.
right.
Okay. And then these two buffoons come tumbling out of the fireplace. And she just kind of turns around and, very well aware of what she's about to say, she goes, "You two are so loud right now."
Yeah, she checks out.
And she kind of goes over to the fireplace, like, and like on her, like her hands on the side of the fireplace, and like looks down and goes, "Liv, you coming?" Whoop! There goes my camera. There we go.
And Lyra, as
Yeah,
you're
she
looking
kinda
down,
calls
you
down
can,
to Lilith of like, "Lil, are you coming?"
And Lyra, as you look down, you can see like the kind of rust areas where there was a grate that used to cover the chimney so that like burning logs wouldn't roll into it and fall into the room below. That's gone. But other than that, everything seems just dirty. And you shout down, and Lilith, while all of this has been going on, it takes them a little bit to climb up. What have you been doing?
Well, I've been checking out the room, and I'm thinking because everybody is clearly going upstairs, I'm going to go back to that main area where the stairwell is.
Okay.
And just start going up the stairs and see where I end up. See if I can hear everybody's shenanigans.
Perfect. So you're going to go there. And you're just walking there. You're not like stopping to investigate anything or...
No, I'm just going to kind of walk around. Try not to touch anything because it's really gross and dirty.
Gotcha. Sorry, hold please.
Holding.
So while you're in that room, you start heading up the stairs, and you can tell that there's a balcony that overlooks this entry room. So you start heading up towards it.
Do I start to hear them a little bit better as I'm like going up the stairs, or that I'm seeing that little room?
I'm just gonna drop you onto the other map so you can see what's going on. Bloop. And do you see your token on the new map?
I do.
Cool. So yeah, you essentially exit the stairwell right there. You do see that there is another, it's not really a room, it's more of just like an open space, but there's a large skull here that has this large rack of antlers, probably an elk of some kind. There's a few more deer skulls that are surrounding this, or being on the other side of this window that a little bit of light is pouring through. And then looking off in this direction is just a dark hallway. There's a couple of doors on either side, and you can kind of make out these portraits that are hanging, but it's really hard to hear anything. Looking across the balcony, like from the balcony you're on, you see this wall, but there's no doors or anything, and you feel like to get to where that chimney went up, you'd have to go that way on the map, but down this hallway first.
Gotcha. Well, I think I want to check out the photo or the pictures in the hallway.
Okay.
See if, just because I'm curious, and I have pretty good vision in the dark.
Okay.
So I'm okay with going down a deep, dark, scary hallway. But I want to check out those photos or those pictures.
Sure.
I think.
All right. So as you come to the first portrait, it looks like an elderly fellow, and he's holding what looks like a large metal rod of some kind, and near the base of that metal rod is like a carved wood piece that seems to be connected to it. You're not really sure what this thing does, but he's standing there holding it in kind of like a strong pose where he has his chest pushed out. The white mustache that he has that's kind of handlebarish is, like poofed out, very manly, like he's it looks like some kind of portrait to make this man look very powerful, and beneath his foot that's upraised is a painting of a very large elk. Might be the one that skull came from.
Okay.
What's your passive perception?
Let's see here. Passive is 10.
10. Perfect.
Wow, we're all really observant.
I know, right?
We are.
Don't tell me that mine
Speak
is the
for
highest.
yourself. Speak for yourself.
while that's happening, the rest of you are in this room. You've kind of got your bearings, and Lilith or Lyra, you shout down to Lilith, and there's no answer.
A deep frown kind of crosses her brow, and she turns to Twiggy and Dizzy, says, "Where'd she go? Wasn't she with you?"
Well, she's gone.
She was, but I mean, I saw
How
you.
do you lose a
and-
Goliath?
She
I was
can't sit up
chasing
the
you.
fireplace. Why would a Goliath go up the fireplace? Like in,
Lyra
in
actually
my
said that
mind,
like out loud, like, "How do you lose a Goliath?"
Well, we stay downstairs. She probably got lost in the dark. I mean, can't find anything in the dark.
I don't think that that's the case.
But you can't find anything in the dark?
Oh, I mean, I can find things in the dark pretty easily.
Well, I don't know how you do that. It's pretty much impossible.
I mean, I suppose we can go look for her. She shouldn't be too far behind.
Have any
I can double back.
don't touch the curtains.
Are
Or,
you
like-
okay? Are you?
No.
And looking at Lyra, I mean, she's very dirty and covered in soot and everything, but there's a large road rash, essentially, that runs down your
like you've been
arm.
dragged along bricks, kind of.
Right.
Did you
Just-
fall down?
Just something's not right. Don't touch tapestries, curtains, things that could grab you.
You sound
figure
like
it out. We just have
Twiggy
to find
and seagulls.
Well, I mean, you can never be too careful. And it's good that she sounds like me. I'm the smart one.
Larry takes a
Yeah.
moment to internally reflect that she has now reached Twiggy's level of analysis. It's like, we'll figure it out. Just don't touch anything without like looking at it first.
Stabbing it first.
Yeah, pretty much. She kind of wants to say that, but she's like looking at it first. But let's find Lilith, then we'll figure it out. We'll figure out what this place is, where we are, what's going on.
All right. So I'm just gonna walk over to the door,
Okay.
and then I suppose I'll open it.
Okay. It opens easily. There's a little bit of it catches a little bit as rust kind of pops off the hinges, and there's a as it opens, and there's a dark hallway outside. You do notice that there is a doorway over here, and there's a couple of portraits hanging there. The hallway goes both directions from where you are. It seems like that to your left, there are more cobwebs in the corners, and there's a door that ends at the end of the hallway, whereas the door or the hallway to the north, where the runner ends, it turns to the left.
Okay. I am going to cast dancing lights so that Twiggy can see in this hallway.
Nice.
Ah,
I'm just assuming you're going to move it with you.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Twiggy is briefly distracted by the glowing lights. He's trying to suppress his mounting glee.
Do you want to keep it with yourself or with Twiggy?
I'll keep it with Twiggy.
Okay. Then let's do this. I'm going to put an aura on Twiggy
Ooh.
to show how far you can see, which is 10 feet. Yeah, 10 feet. Just want to make sure I was reading that right. There you go.
Nice.
All right. So which direction do the three of you want to head?
I mean, part of me thinks I should double back and try and catch up with. So I don't really know where she went. She's not climbing up the chimney. Dizzy seems to know what's up, and Dizzy always needs backup. So I'm gonna give Dizzy backup. Yeah.
Yeah, as you're sitting there debating and waiting for Lyra to make her decision on what she's doing, this scene of you walking through the streets of Thentia earlier, where the seagulls were just dive bombing Lizzie and trying to carry him away, and you like valiantly fought them off, crosses through your mind.
True. Being a hero is very difficult.
Yeah.
But, probably the most heroic out of all of us. This guy here, powerful wizard.
Right?
Yep.
So, Dizzy, are you going to continue on? Which direction do you want to go?
I head down the hallway up north, I guess.
All right. So essentially, as Twiggy follows, and Lilith is heading that direction as well. Lilith, you notice there is a little bit of light growing from this end of the hallway.
Lilith is gonna stand ready with, let's say, her mace.
Okay.
Just casually, just in case. But she is unafraid.
Okay.
She feels comfortable in the light and the dark. She's okay with it. She'll just take what comes.
And you do notice that you're kind of like prepping there, that there are these other two portraits. One is of a what looks like a half-elven woman. Like she has very slightly pointed ears as she's like sitting next to this looks like a pond or something. It's very faded, so it's kind of hard to tell, and she's kind of like dragging her hand across the pond to make ripples. And then on the other side, on this side over here, is a younger man, also in that like kind of same pose, that like power pose of the hunter, that's standing over a smaller dead boar. But he also has one of those weird long metal sticks in his hand.
Do I notice that, say, like the half-elven woman, does she look at all familiar to me, or do any of these people in the portraits?
They don't.
I kind of like to look at one of those animal heads, actually. I think I would want to go the other direction to check out one of those heads. I'd like to investigate it.
Okay. So while that's going on, Lyra, so Dizzy cast Dancing Lights and has it moving along with Twiggy, and they have headed down the hallway. What's your plan?
Honestly, at this point, Lyra would like step out into the hallway and make sure she can like keep an eye on them. But also, if they're just like moving past things, she's gonna like take her time to look at things if they're just like moving right past them. You know, like that type of thing of like if they brush over something or like whatever. Like that's kind of her plan. She's gonna follow, but be like a step behind to make sure they don't miss anything. I guess.
And what is
like in her brain?
passive?
Kind of like 13.
Okay. Dizzy, are you taking your time? Are you being investigative? We'll go with investigative today.
I'm just looking for signs of Lilith.
Okay. Yeah, looking around for both of you, there's definitely cobwebs in the corners. The runner is well worn. Like the middle is almost worn pinkish, which you can tell with the light from the dancing lights, whereas the edges are more of that dark maroon. This, as you step out, Lilith, this area over here has a lot of cobwebs, and there's a portrait here. Lilith, Lyra, you get this weird sensation that this portrait just moved as you step out.
Yeah, no, she's gonna take a step out, and she's gonna like start to follow Dizzy and Twiggy, and like kind of like double check herself, and then like take a step backwards and redirect towards this portrait.
Okay.
So she'll be like here,
Okay.
kind of, right? And she's doing that thing where, like, honestly, she like, okay, I need to move my token a couple times to explain this. So she's gonna like step out the door, start following them, and rather than like turn around and walk, like she's literally gonna walk backwards, like this way.
Right.
So keep an eye on them, but like trying to use her periphery, to like be like, is this portrait's eyes following me? Let's not look at it, but let's try to like, like
Right.
that type of thing.
So as you kind of like back up and you're watching them, but out of the corner of your eye, you're keeping an eye on it. It doesn't seem to be moving. You kind of get the idea. It looks like a somewhat balding fellow in middle age. He has like something of a handlebar mustache, but it's not quite very well grown in yet. He's holding a some kind of weird metal rod, and at his feet lays a dead deer. It doesn't seem to be moving anymore. And Dizzy, as you get to the end of the hallway, are you going to continue on, or are you going to stay where you're at?
I'm just gonna stand here, and then I'm just gonna yell out, like, Lilith, are you around here?
Okay. So Lilith, about the time you would get to there, you hear Dizzy shout.
Okay, I'll shout back and just say, hey, I'm checking stuff out over here. I'll be there in a sec.
It does sound like
Alright.
she is on the same floor as you and just somewhere down that hallway around the corner.
Alright, well, I'm not really gonna worry about it. I'm gonna, I guess, go see what Lyra is up to.
Okay. And Twiggy, what are you doing?
I'm gonna make sure that wasn't a second one of them, or an enemy, or someone impersonating Lilith, or having possessed Lilith, and I'm gonna go zipping around that corner now that I got some disco lights, and I'm gonna...
The only issue with that is as soon as it gets out of his line of vision, Dizzy can't move the disco lights with you.
Oh, that's fine. Twiggy doesn't, I don't think would realize that until he's well out of the range of the light. There probably will be some screaming, brief display of despair, and then a quick retreat to the edge of the light where you can hold the boundary against potentially fake Lilith. You can never be too careful.
Right? So we're going to do this. Essentially, the light's going to end there, or it's going to stop moving there.
Okay.
All
right.
When you get to this corner,
yeah.
So you zip around. Oh, sorry. There is light trickling in from this window, and so you can see a silhouette of somebody moving towards it. It's very hard to tell who it is, though. It is a very large figure.
Definitely, probably a hag. Probably a night hag. It's a night hag. Hey guys, we got a night hag.
Oh my god. Lilith absolutely hears Twiggy because there's nothing stealthy about Twiggy.
Right.
And is going to channel her Twilight Sanctuary just to emit it. So she brings out her holy symbol. She mutters a couple of choice words, and a sphere of radiated light just kind of emits from her.
And how wide is that?
Let's see. Oh, 30 feet radius.
Perfect.
Filled with dim light. And it moves with me.
Let's go with that one.
There are benefits to people in my Twilight Sanctuary, but I'm just doing it to be a little extra.
Okay. So this kind of like duskish light emanates from where Lilith is standing. It obviously doesn't go into these other rooms, but when you are in a room, that is your radius for how far it goes.
All right, stand down, guys. She did something that only Lilith can do. It's okay. It's okay. Where is it?
So
I want to turn and look at Twiggy and give him a little air guns. Good
The
to see
finger
you.
guns.
Finger gun.
Yep.
Except for you haven't seen guns before, so would it be like a finger bow? You're just like
Yeah. I see
Finger
you.
wand.
a finger
Bam.
wand. Okay. So while that's going on, Dizzy heads back towards Lyra, who's standing there, keeping an eye on things. What happens?
Well, Lyra is clearly just like she's been spooked, right? Like she's been surprised and she doesn't like to be surprised and like, startled and like so she's very on edge, right?
Right.
And so Dizzy kind of walks up to her and she just kind of like very like and like, like she's very jumpy for her, which is like not usual, but it's rare that she kind of gets like the one over, right? So she's like, I think I'm seeing things. I think I'm seeing things.
Yeah, you do seem a little out of it right now.
Okay, but are you seeing things?
I mean, I saw you getting jacked through a chimney, but that's about it.
She literally is just like, she's like, but I mean, like, have I just completely freaking lost it, or like, are you seeing things? Like, have you seen anything else?
I mean, we were just at a carnival and now we're here, so.
No, really? She kind of like does that at him, like, no, really?
So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if things were a little strange right now.
And Dizzy, you did notice Lyra like get knocked around going up that. Maybe she has some kind of head trauma.
Yeah, you might want to take it easy for a bit. Everyone else seems to be fine, but you seem a little roughed up right now.
Glares daggers at Dizzy, just like, forget it. And she doesn't tell him about the moving portrait. Right? She's like, forget it. Let's just go. And not me trying to move my token through the stream video instead of the actual 20.
For what it's worth, I've done that before, so
like clicking on the stream video and being like,
right.
Where's my movement box?
For
Why isn't
viewers, we can help you out here. It doesn't work if you ever try it.
Yeah. Don't try to move your token when you're watching stream at the same time, because
You tried
it
left
does not
clicking.
work.
Oh, what was that, John?
Have you tried left clicking?
Oh yeah, right. Left click on the
Yeah.
video.
Let's click on the video, guys. So she's gonna kind of say forget it to Dizzy and then just start to walk this way, but she's kind of had a thought in her mind because like she's seen like the dusty cobwebbiness of this house,
Right.
but like outside of her traumatic experience, there's been like nothing else that she's noticed. I mean, like the pictures move, but when you're in a weird creepy place, like sure, the light moved that way. The picture, like she kind
Right.
of brushes it off, right? And now she's like, is this place actually abandoned, or has it just been made to look that way?
Right.
Like, is the dust too perfect? Like, you know what I mean? Is like the placement of the cobwebs too perfect? Like, she's really like, are we actually alone with weird whatever is happening, or is something else happening?
Gotcha.
As she's like walking towards, Twiggy's commotion.
Yeah. And in fact, while you're like thinking of all that, you do realize that, Dizzy's dancing lights were moving that direction. Maybe it was just the lights hitting that portrait weird that made it look like it was moving. Who knows? And as you walk down the halls, essentially these hallways are, you're pretty sure that the building is made of stone from the things that you've seen so far, but the lower half of the walls are like a wood paneling covering the stone, and then the top is like some kind of like wallpaper, but you do notice that a lot of it's peeling, and so you can see the stone behind it.
Okay.
It looks, if it is a setup, it's a pretty good setup. It definitely, they have found like this rug that you're walking on is definitely worn down. It's they would have had to do quite a bit of work to make a new rug look like this, or
Looks
they found
more
an
like-
old rug.
Are there other signs of movement besides theirs? I guess is kind of like
Right. So far, you
Keep
haven't
going.
seen anything. The dancing lights are a little. What shape did you make them in, Dizzy?
They were just like orbs.
Okay. So they're just kind of like moving around.
Mm-hmm.
They give like a little bit of like weird light, Lyra, but it doesn't seem. It doesn't make anything else really move. But it could explain why the picture seemed like it was.
Okay. She is still very on edge.
Okay.
And just FYI, we had me change her dagger of warning to dagger of whatever to have advantage on perception
Right.
of sight and sound. Let's, because I almost forgot that, and then I saw my note before we started today.
That's actually a good thing.
but yeah,
'Cause a good thing to keep in mind because your passive would technically be up a little higher. So I'll keep that in mind whenever having you do passives.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I think, yeah. But yeah, so she's still like very on edge. Like she's not a very trustworthy person anyways, and she's kind of a bitch, and now she's like extra bitchy and very jumpy. Do
Okay.
not startle the animals.
So let's keep in mind. Sorry to step out here. Keep in mind when you're holding the dagger, your passive is going to be 18.
Okay.
I don't know if
Okay.
you want to mark that on your sheet or whatever.
Yeah. I will grab a piece of paper and then fix my sheet when we're done. But thank you.
So while that's going on, Twiggy, you can see Lilith is moving into this room down here, whether you want to follow or head back. But Lilith, what are you doing once you reach there?
To investigate the animal heads
Okay.
and see if there's anything that I can see that's off or interesting about it.
Okay. So you do notice there are 3 stuffed heads. They're all deer, whereas this elk skull, and you can tell because of the way the horns are, that is an elk. That's an actual skull as opposed to a stuffed taxidermied head. There's a dirty window. It's not quite as bad as the dining room that you were in earlier. What else do you want to see?
Let's go up to that head and see if I can take it off the wall.
To the skull? Sure.
Yeah.
For you, it's kind of a, like, you don't have to stretch much. You just reach up and pluck it from the wall. It looks like it was, there's like a nail driven into the wall there, and it was just like, there's the spine hole in the back of the skull, and it was just like hung off of that.
Okay. I mused that it might be really nice in my home, so I'm just gonna take it.
Okay. It's going to be a little awkward to carry around because it is like 10 feet wide.
Sure.
Or sorry, it's 5 feet wide. So if you want to like place it somewhere and carry it around, or like come back for it, or if you just want to carry it around, we'll keep in.
I'm gonna carry it around for
Okay.
a little bit until I decide to set it down. Yeah. So why not?
Okay. You don't really notice anything else in this open area.
Okay. I'd like to go back to the original portrait that shows the skull in it.
The animal
Yeah.
that skull probably came from, sure.
Yeah.
I would say you
Yeah.
probably would notice. The only other thing that you would notice that the taxidermied heads are very worn, like over time, if they're not cared for, like they just kind of start to fall apart, and like it looks like maybe critters have gotten to it and parts of them are chewed, but there isn't anything like excessively weird, and there aren't any objects in them. So all
Go
right.
back to that portrait and check it out a little bit. Pay attention to the staff because it looked like 2 of the portraits had staffs that looked similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And while
And
Lilith
maybe
is
kinda,
doing
like, move it. I wanna touch it as well.
Gotcha. And while Lilith's doing this, Twiggy, you like fly that direction, and then Lilith turns around and walks the other way, holding a large skull with giant rack of horns. What do you do?
Well, I mean, she surged. I protect. So I'm going to. I don't know. I should probably kind of keep an eye on her back. So I'm gonna put myself on her shoulder, but facing the opposite way. With rapier
Gotcha.
out. Yeah,
Yes,
periodically like
yes.
hopping from like one view position to the other.
And Twiggy, you notice that as you like hop on her back, you can see this open area, and like her purplish light drops down and shows that this open area is there. You haven't been in it before, so it looks like there is a you see a glinting off of a statue, and there's it kind of looks like there's a large room below you, but you can't make out much with the little bit of light that's spilling over the edge.
All right, I don't want to alarm you, but there is a golem. I repeat, there is a golem down there.
I love Twiggy so much.
Everything is a threat.
Everything.
Vigilance. Oh.
Okay. So as Lilith reaches this and is looking at the portrait, what do you want to know about the portrait there, Lilith?
I would like to see. I would like to know, like, do I know anything about the staff that they're holding? Because it seems like that staff is pretty unique.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It is weird because, especially having been around magic users and such, most staffs, if they have any kind of like decoration, it's on the top. Like it seems very awkward that this has like this weird carving of wood at the bottom. It's kind of triangular and it looks like it has like some kind of extra fluff or something, like these weird little extra pieces on it. It looks very weird to like, it wouldn't make a good walking staff. You're really not sure what that's for.
Stab it.
And
And
I do like an Arcana check? Like, do I know
Sure.
any, like, my mind?
Yeah, you can do an
Alright,
Arcana
so-
check, and while you're doing that, are the others, so Lyra and Dizzy, are you heading around the corner to head that direction, or are you still checking out this hallway?
I don't know what Dizzy's doing, so let's let Dizzy go first.
I will just walk along the hallway, keep a safe distance behind Lyra, because I'm just a little concerned because she's been acting really strange. So
Pumped her head a little too hard. I
Right.
bet.
yeah,
Um,
maybe
so yeah,
lost
so
some
Lyra-
oxygen.
I mean, Lyra can see all these other doors, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she did hear. Did she hear Lilith when Lilith like called back out to Dizzy? Okay, so she knows that Lilith is that way, and Twiggy's presumably that way. She's taking like note of like how many other doors there are, but for now, she's a woman on a mission.
Okay.
She's a woman on a mission, and she's just, all right, I'm going. Like every now and again, she'll look back to make sure that like Dizzy's still with her.
Okay.
And she's on a mission, but high alert. She literally, she has a moment where she's like, "Oh my God, I've turned into Twiggy. I've turned into Twiggy. Everything is a threat. The
Everything.
doors, like every time she walks past a door, she's like,
Do you know how
with
big
any
those
like
doors are?
tapestries. Honestly, if it's cloth and it's hanging, she wants nothing to do with it. She's
Yeah.
like skirting any tapestries, any curtains, any like even the rug. Every now and again, she'll like extra scuff her foot against to like make sure that it's
Right.
just a rug.
Stomp on it.
Like,
Dizzy, are you going to move the lights with you?
Oh yeah, I'll move him with me since Twiggy's no longer.
Okay.
Twiggy doesn't need them anymore. So
but yeah, so Lyra will like come around the corner, make sure Dizzy's following, being like hyper vigilant, and come around the corner. She doesn't
Okay.
come like all the way towards Lilith. She just kind of comes around the corner so she can see Lilith.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, and as you come around the corner, there's like that purplish light that kind of emanates from her, and you notice that there are a couple more portraits. This one on your right, as you're heading towards Lilith, looks like it's very faded, but there's obviously a image of a woman sitting next to a pond. She's half elven, you're pretty sure. And then there's this one. I think I'm getting a feedback from you again. Sorry. I don't know why things change like that.
I didn't touch anything.
I know, right? This one reminds you of the other one, but there's a much younger person in the image, where there's like obviously somebody standing there with the trophy war under them, and they have that same kind of metal staff, and it looks like Lilith is standing in front of another portrait. There's a doorway behind her, and then you see another door. Sorry, there's a door behind her.
The two on this wall depict the sorry, let me backtrack. The one on this one is the woman by the pond.
Yep.
The one here is a similar figure to this one, hunting trophy type of thing. And the one in front of Lilith is also another hunting trophy type of thing.
Are you moving down by Lilith? It's kind of harder to see from where you are.
Okay, but like so Lyra can see this one and this one. And this one is also a hunting trophy type of esque as that one.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Outside of perhaps, so Lyra has two thoughts. One, does this photo look like the same person in this photo?
It does not.
Okay. Her second thought is, does she recognize these people?
She does not.
Okay. She's taking like a little bit extra look at them, like noting the things about it, like noting the pond, noting the woman, noting, the staff, like noting the staff, noting the people in them. But she's not like super stopping to investigate them. She's gonna come towards Lilith.
Okay.
And like be like, oh, thank God.
And
no, be like, all right, you're here.
And Dizzy, are you moving behind her?
Oh yeah.
So Dizzy, as you head behind her and your lights are moving with you, you glance over and the portrait of the woman. What you see, you're just kind of like looking around and keeping an eye on Lyra to make sure she doesn't like decide to stab you for some strange reason, or something. And you glance over and you see this portrait of this woman. It's very worn, but obviously probably a half-elven woman, and she appears to be holding something under the surface of a pond. It looks kind of like a furred fairy, although its wings the color of its wings are very muted. They're kind of a bluish. It reminds you a lot of what Twiggy looks like, but very, like, the colors aren't so bright. They're very worn down, and it seems like air bubbles are escaping from the fairy's mouth.
My God.
And there's like this look of satisfaction on the half-elf woman's face.
Okay, I'm gonna take a closer look at this picture just because it reminds me of Twiggy.
Okay. And Lyra, as you approach this other picture, you're definitely, you catch the resemblance. This one looks like a much older version of this one. The animal's different. The other one had a deer, and this one has a very large elk. But this picture is definitely the other person. That, like...
Okay. Did she... No, I don't think she really looked at this one, because she was, like, kind of storming off a little bit, right?
Correct.
Okay. She wouldn't know that. I don't think she would know, because she was like, fine, whatever. Forget it. Like, I'm just like...
You do remember it was, like, a picture of, like, a scene as opposed to a person?
Right, so more like the woman with the pond rather than the hunting trophy.
Yeah, and there wasn't even a person in it. It was more like a landscape scene.
Yeah, then she absolutely just like would not care. Like just like whatever.
Gotcha.
So she comes up to Lilith, she sees this photo, she like gives Twiggy a little nod and like of like constant vigilance, right? Because she is also like, nah.
Oh, he gives you a long stare before you get any closer. Like he's got to give you a look over. So you came from around that corner. He didn't see you, this full time here. Gives you a long look.
Lyra will just give Twiggy a long look back, or like, are you done? In very typical Lyra fashion, right?
Okay.
She's like,
checks out.
Are you finished?
So the stare down is going on, and Dizzy's looking at this painting. What do you want to know about the painting, Dizzy?
Does it? I don't know. Does it seem magical in any way, or is it just?
I mean, it looks like a very old, faded painting. Like the canvas is a little worn, and the colors are obviously desaturated from time.
Can I take it off the wall and like flip it over so that
Sure.
it's like? Okay, yeah. I'm gonna do that.
You give it a good tug, and it's heavy, but it's not too heavy for you to pick up. And so you set it down and you flip it around.
Yeah,
they're not quite life size, but the frame is actually almost as tall as you are.
Okay.
And
I'm gonna do that. Oh, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say the back of it is like an open canvas. There's a wire that is attached to the back that would have hung off of the nail it's driven into the wall. But there's not like that paper backing that you would see sometimes. And then there's like it's set into a frame, and you can see the little nails that are holding it in the frame. What else do you want to know about it?
What is it just a wooden frame or?
Yeah, so the frame is wood, although it's carved. It's kind of a floral design on the front. The back is more smooth. You can see some of the flowers that are kind of sticking out of the top that have been carved in, but the back of it's just kind of plain. And then the canvas itself is stretched over a wooden frame.
All right, I'm just gonna leave it and then catch up with the rest of the group.
Okay. So you're leaning it against the wall, or?
Oh yeah, I'm leaning it against the wall.
Do you flip it back around, or do you leave it facing towards the wall?
I leave it facing towards the wall.
Okay.
It's just unsettling, and I don't like it. So
that's fair. I don't like you. All right. So the four of you regroup at this painting. What are we all doing?
Where's the kitchen? Is there a kitchen here in this house? Yeah. Where's the kitchen? I mean,
probably downstairs, I would imagine.
No one's offered us tea. It's not even in. I don't know. I don't smell ham being cooked right now, and I'm pretty certain that when you invite people over to your house, wherever this is, you serve them ham and tea.
I don't think we were invited, though. We just kind of showed up.
Pretty sure you don't just show up to a place. I mean, unless you're crashing the party, but we're not crashing a party. We were invited to this one. I think, yeah, it was right. Yeah, we're invited. Yeah, that's what the lady said, right? Know what she said?
And while this discussion's going on, Lilith, you're looking at this picture and you're trying to figure out what's up with this staff. And with your Arcana roll, you're really not sure. It just looks like a very strange metal staff.
Okay. All right. Well, then I guess I want to check out that other picture. Go down the hallway to this. Maybe not the woman, but this other.
Gotcha. So, yep. So you head that way. Dizzy and Twiggy, you're talking with each other about being invited as you pass each other, because Twiggy's riding Lilith's shoulder. And Lilith walks past you while this conversation is going on. She seems very interested in the paintings. And Lilith, you notice that, I guess, what differences are you looking for, or what are you trying to figure out about the other painting?
Looking for the staff and if there's a difference in the people.
Definitely a different person.
Magical.
definitely different person. The staff is a little different. Like the carvings on the bottom are a little different, and the wood is different. It's a lighter color wood, and the setting itself is similar. It's kind of like generic forest background, and the animal is a boar instead of an elk.
Okay. I think I'll move on to the other picture and check that out.
Okay, so the other picture has been taken off the wall and is now leaning face against the wall.
All right, I'm gonna move it around so I can look at it again. And do I notice if the pictures have changed since I looked at them?
They don't appear to be. And as you turn that one around, it looks like a woman, a half-elf woman, sitting at a pond, dragging her hand across it, and the ripples are coming out.
Okay. It doesn't look like she's trying to drown to anybody?
Doesn't look like it.
Huh. Okay.
And Lyra,
Cool.
what are you doing?
So because Lilith seems so like invested in these photos, Lyra is going to, I mean, obviously our tokens do a terrible. Oh, we do have free move. We're not locked to grid. Okay. Like that. So Lyra is gonna like follow along next to Lilith,
Okay.
right? And
It's
Lilith
a little
seems, like,
awkward
really...
because Lilith has this like 5-foot long like rack of
Oh,
antlers,
right.
but like
So, like Lyra's kind of stuck like a little bit behind because the antlers are like preventing her from
Right.
being like right next to Lilith. And so she's gonna follow along with Lilith, and she's just gonna, before she speaks, she's gonna like look at the skull, look at Lilith, look at the skull, let it go. She always shoot a question Lilith. This is why her and Lilith are friends, right? Like she's just like, all right,
right.
okay.
She's just accessorizing.
Right. And Lyra's not gonna be like, what are you doing with that? Like she's just gonna be like, all right, cool. You want this thing? All right. Like, by all means. She will say, maybe better on the back. But then like she's just gonna let it go. Like, you know, like, and then she's gonna do two things. One, she's gonna hand Lilith her bag, because Lyra still has Lilith's bag.
Right.
Right? So she's gonna kinda like take off the messenger bag, like as Lilith is looking at things, just like put it over her shoulder. Like she's not even gonna be like here. She's just gonna be like, no words, just like that's yours. You know.
Lilith is just gonna nod, you know, like look at Lyra and be like, okay.
I mean, Lyra can't reach high enough to put it above her head, right?
You're
Lyra
like
is
jumping.
only 5'8", so she's just gonna kind of like put it on Lilith's shoulder, right? She can't reach Lilith's shoulder if she's like reaching up, right? But she'll give Lilith back her bag, and then she's also gonna, you know, look at the pictures, and she's gonna gesture back towards this one.
Okay.
By like the first one by the staircase, and be like, that guy's on the other wall too. Younger though. Family house maybe. And she's like, do you know these people? Like, and when she says, do you know these people? She kind of looks at everybody else, but she's like talking to Lilith too. But she tells Lilith that like this guy in front of them is also on the other wall.
Yeah.
And Lyra also at this point gives Lilith a warning about loose tapestry draping things. And she realizes that she sounds crazy like Twiggy does half the time. But she's like, I was kidnapped by a sheet. I don't want to talk about it. And like this is like her exact words of like, I was kidnapped by a sheet. I don't want to talk about it. Don't touch the fabric things.
And you know, something about Twiggy, when you're paranoid that something is going to try and kill you for long enough, you're going to be right sooner or later, probably.
It's
Probably.
to truly be safe, and I'm very proud of you for finally understanding the twig method, which is kind of like swap,
Twig
but it's
method.
twig.
And Dizzy, you noticed as Lilith like turns the painting around that you were unsettled by, it seems to have changed. It looks like she's no longer kind of like glaring gleefully into the water as she drowns this fairy, but rather she's more relaxed and just serene, dragging her hand across the surface of the water.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say, you know, that painting was different. I flipped it over because she looked like she was drowning like Twiggy's cousin or something.
What? Wait, what?
That's why I flipped it, because it looked like she was drowning, like some sort of fake creature.
Impossible. We don't drown, we just dissipate.
Well, I saw air bubbles coming out of
That's
it,
the dissipation. That's totally normal. It's normal. Dissipation.
and she looked awfully happy about it.
Well, that's weird, because it's not really a pleasant experience. I'm going to take a look at this painting.
She does look serene, but she's not drowning anything. She's just kind of dragging her hand calmly over the water.
She appeared to be portrayed in the prime material.
It's a very similar scene where it's to the other ones where it's kind of like a foresty situation, but there's a pond before her. It's definitely more prime material than Fae, although she looks half elven, so there might be some Fae lineage going on there.
Alright, so I'm gonna take my rapier and just kind of like slice through it. I guess more poke holes in it.
So what, like just like the middle of the canvas, or are you trying to cut the canvas out? What's your goal?
I'm just trying to deface it, rather. Not really trying to get it out, just
Gotcha.
damage it.
Are you like stabbing her in the face, or?
Yeah, I'll stab her in the face and then just all over.
Okay. So Lilith, you're kind of holding it, all of a sudden, like this rapier just like stabs through it a couple of times, and like wiggles around.
And I can see Dizzy doing this. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
can see the rapier and like look over and like, oh my god. Okay, cool. That
You
happened.
didn't see it though. It's different. I think there's something strange going on here.
Last few moments, she's gonna be like, and you're concerned about me and your stabbing paintings. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
Dizzy, because that Dizzy wouldn't say anything unless it was happening. So I'm gonna pay attention to that. I'm definitely intrigued by these paintings. They have to mean something.
Okay. All right, so you're all
so did
standing in
anything
this...
happen after I stabbed it, or it's just full of holes?
It's just full of holes. And about that time, your dancing lights wink out.
Okay.
But there's this like duskish light emanating off of Lilith that you're all familiar with, that's lighting this area.
It's about that kitchen. And lack of ham.
Have any of you, and this is in character, looked into any of these rooms?
Do you think they would be the kitchen?
If we haven't looked, how would we know?
On it! I will smash through the first door. Just boom. My whole tiny body.
It's probably this door right here is the closest to you. You just launch yourself off of... So he launches himself off of Lilith's shoulder and runs into the door. Let me make sure that door is not locked or anything. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. I believe you run into it. Are you turning the handle as well, or are you just like running into the door?
Just gonna ram myself into the door.
Why don't you make an athletics check?
Yeah! Came in like a wrecking ball, right? Here we go.
Nice.
Yeah.
The wood actually gives, there's a splintering sound, and a good chunk of the door just kind of falls away as Twiggy shoves his way through it. The door didn't open so much as a piece of it fell off, and it's not quite Twiggy shaped, but then Twiggy pushed his way through and is on the other side. Twiggy, all you can see is essentially this wardrobe. I'm going to move you here. You can see this wardrobe because there's a beam of this like duskish light coming through the door where you broke it. Very faintly, you can see that there's a portrait hanging there. There's some stuff on the ground over there, but you can't really make out anything because even though the beam is there, it's not lighting the surroundings.
Let's see if I have any candles. Do I have a candle? Somewhere in here? Inventory. There you are. Still learning this sheet here.
So Diggy begins to like root around in his pack. What are the rest of you doing?
I'm gonna follow after Twiggy to make sure he's not getting into any trouble.
Are you also smashing through the door, or are you just going to turn the door handle?
I'm gonna turn the handle.
Okay. So you turn the handle and push through. You can hear the scrape as the piece of door that fell apart is pushed, and then it like hits the rug on the other side, and you kind of have to like force it a little bit. The door doesn't open all the way because of that.
Okay.
But you can open the door, and more light pours through as that happens, Twiggy.
Any candles on the table? A table? Sconces?
You do notice there's a sconce of 3 candles on this table here.
I'll use Druidcraft to instantly light them.
And the room becomes dimly lit. Like there's a bright light out to about there. And then the rest of the room is kind of like flickering with dim light. Lilith and Lyra, what are you doing?
I think I'd like to join.
Okay.
I'll go in and join with them.
Okay. And Lyra?
So this like painting is now like not slash, but like stabbed through.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's
essentially Dizzy with the rapier would have stuck it through a couple of times, and like if you kind of move around, it would have like torn the canvas, not so much slashed it, but like ripped it.
Right. I'm picturing somebody like kind of punching through a canvas type of like,
Yeah.
you know, when it like it would tear in like that natural sort of tearing
Right.
way. She's gonna take an extra second. And where is it? Remind me when we're done. I wanted to talk to you about something out of character.
Okay.
For Lyra, but this is reminding me of it. It was like one of those things. Like if I don't mention, I'm gonna forget.
I totally understand that.
Sorry to interrupt gameplay there. And she's gonna take a moment and like think about what Dizzy said about Twiggy and all that stuff. And she's going to like walk like she's gonna join, but she's gonna stay outside, kind of like here,
Okay.
right? And as everybody's in the room, because she kind of sees it's not a small room, like it's a 15 by 15 room ish, right?
Yeah.
So it's not small, like there's plenty of room for them in there, but she's still gonna like stay out in the hallway, and she's gonna look at this painting specifically.
Okay.
As she's like in the hallway, and she wants to like look at it to in a way that like how Dizzy explained that like they saw something briefly, and then the picture went back to like another way. She's gonna kind of those oh man, I'm so glad we're all around the same age. Those magic eye type of photos, right?
Yeah.
Where like you have to you have to
Stand there
have to go
cross-eyed at it. Yeah.
Yeah. But like so she's not gonna focus on it, but she's gonna like semi-focus on it, right? So that she's not looking directly at it, but like that type of thing,
Totally.
to see if anything similar happens with that photo.
Okay.
Like if anything changes of like if the guy is just going from like foot up on the thing with the spear to like an actual like either the animal changes or the spear changes, or not spear but staff changes, like if anything changes about that photo as everybody's kind of distracted, and she seems distracted but not quite.
Okay.
type of thing.
Sounds good. So as you kind of relax your eyes and are keeping an eye on it, but like not staring at it, the rest of you inside the room, so you notice there's a small bed, probably for one person. There's a chest at the foot of the bed, a couple of side tables, and a couple more of those chairs. There's a wardrobe. There's no fireplace in here, but there is a portrait on this northern wall, or the upper side of the map. That portrait looks kind of like it takes you a minute because it's so faded, like so worn down. Looks like a mountain landscape. Probably just an old landscape painting. What do you do?
See what's in the chest.
Okay. So you like kneel down and flick the like little latch that keeps the chest closed and lift the top open. Inside you find lumps of cloth, but it looks like mice have gotten into it, and you can even see where like the mice have chewed through the chest.
Ew.
And there's essentially mice nests, or like, you know, that have been built in the cloth. So there's like a bunch of chewed up cloth, and there's some rat poop and stuff. It probably had clothes, is what you think the cloth is, but it has been made into a mouse house.
Mouse house.
Lilith is grossed out by that, so she's just gonna close it.
Okay. And Dizzy, while Lilith's doing that, what are you doing?
I'm just gonna look at Twiggy and just shake my head. Why are you so adverse to using doors?
What? Mortals use doors.
Did you manage to find anything worthwhile in here?
Oh, it's not the kitchen. I know that.
Yeah, the kitchen's probably on the first floor.
Why would it be on the first floor?
I don't know, that just seems logical.
As soon as it comes out of your mouth, Dizzy, you realize Twiggy's not a logical person.
Right.
So might not be the most useful argument.
You're right. Do you want to keep looking for a kitchen, or are we gonna investigate?
Yes, there's supposed to be ham and tea. Those are the rules. That's the law.
Ham and tea at the same time.
And tea. You know, that's the baseline. You know, for hospitality, whenever you're whisked away to some other place, there's usually ham and tea.
Does this happen to you fairly often?
Well, I mean, let's not really get into specifics there, but it's how things go. It's a ham and tea. The rule. I mean, there was ham and tea at the carnival. Eventually, when I reminded them that there had to be ham and tea when I first arrived. Yeah. You don't have ham and tea where you come from?
I will take your word on that. What about you, Lilith? Did you find anything of note?
I didn't find anything good, just a bunch of gross mouse droppings. But I want to keep looking in all these little boxes. Didn't you say there's some kind of jewelry or boxes?
No, so there was the chest, and then there's a wardrobe right here.
Wardrobe. I'd like to check out the wardrobe as well.
Okay. So as you open that, it has clothes hanging in it. They look like nightgowns. For a much smaller person than yourself, probably Dizzy's size. And remember, like, in this day and age that you're in, like, men and women both wore nightgowns. And so, like, you're not really sure it's not like a... there's no sense of gender that you're getting from it. You can't really tell by looking at it who they might have belonged to, is essentially what I'm getting at.
Okay. All right. I would like to check out another room. So I'm going to start heading to a door.
Okay.
Yes!
Well, while all of this has been going on, Lyra's been hanging out in the hallway, kind of keeping one eye and ear on what's going on in the room and the other eye and ear on the portrait. Lyra, nothing has changed about the portrait, but as you're standing there, and the light from Lilith's Twilight ability is kind of like in the other room, and you're in the darkness. There's a little bit of light streaming in from the window that's down the map from you. You kind of get this weird feeling. It's almost like falling, but also being watched. It just kind of makes your skin crawl. And you
Is
hear...
it similar to that feeling when like the mist kind of surrounded them and she felt like, again, like falling but not falling, you know?
It reminds you of that, but it's a little more physical, almost like a dread kind of seeping into you, and you hear breathing coming from down here as opposed to the room everyone went in, and it's pretty like obvious. It builds, like you notice it at the periphery of your senses, but you don't like right away. You're not just like, oh, there's breathing, and all of a sudden you're like, wait, that's breathing.
It kind of like a white noise at first.
At first, yeah.
Yeah.
And you have this very disconnected feeling about yourself as this is happening.
As somebody who dissociates mental health, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Mental health is important, viewers and kids.
It is.
But I do know exactly what you're talking about. So everybody's kind of in the room, and Lyra kind of hears this, like, breathing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm assuming it's like a little bit heavier than your average breathing, because most people don't notice somebody else breathing unless it's a little heavier.
And in fact, when you think about it, not only is it heavier, but it doesn't sound humanoid. It sounds bigger.
Okay. Yep. I was like, it doesn't sound human.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds bigger, and it's more. There's like a roughness to it.
Okay. Just character timeline wise, does she hear this before everybody starts coming like out of the room?
Yes.
Because like they're all talking in the room, right?
Correct.
Lyra is okay. So Twiggy smashed through the door, but it just kind of like gave way, and Twiggy went like materialized through it. But then Dizzy opened it.
Right.
And Lilith followed, so the door is physically open.
It
right?
is. It wasn't able to be open fully because
it's
propped
half open.
But it's. I would say it's about half open, and there is a bit of Lilith's light coming out.
Okay. Just sometimes I have to like remind my brain, like clarity wise, what exactly is what.
Totally.
Especially when your character is about to do something kind of stupid.
It'll be fine. I'm sure it's all gonna be great.
Lyra's gonna hear this larger than life breathing, I guess you could call it, and reach out next to her for the door, right? She's gonna like, because I'm assuming she can just kind of like take a half step sideways and like reach for the handle, right? And she's gonna go,
uh-oh.
Is
that a bark?
It might be great. It might be great. You never know. Lyra.
Fickle fate in the moment of tension.
Right?
Yep.
Go ahead and roll any die. Roll a die, any die.
Roll a die, any die. D10, because we feel like it. No, that's a D8. D10. Hello. Where is it? Where's my dice? Oh, there it is. I was like, where are they?
A 3. Oh. Okay. So you're reaching for the door, and what are you going to do with the door?
Not afraid. Fickle fate's involved.
What could go wrong?
Lyra was just going to go be quiet and slam the door and leave herself alone in the hallway.
Gotcha. So yeah, you reach in. As you're reaching in, everyone's kind of like getting ready to head out at this point, and so everyone sees Lyra say, "Be quiet," and then the door shuts. Lyra, what do you do?
It's so hard knowing that fickle fate's a thing, but like making like my character doesn't know that fickle fate's a thing.
Right.
You know, so it's like Can she, with her dark vision, see what is breathing, like from the hallway,
So you glance
or like an
down,
outline of it, or something?
So you look down towards this window, and you can see there are like these heads mounted on the wall from where you are, because I'm pretty sure that's within. Yeah, that's within your dark vision, and there's like a little bit of light streaming in. You don't see anything besides that.
Okay. Well, she does have an eye for detail, which is she can use a perception check to spot a hidden creature or object,
Gotcha.
or to make an investigation check to decipher clues. But like she hears this thing, right? And she's like, I can't see it.
Right.
So she is like being as still, and I guess you could say as stealthy as possible. Like she is like, she closed the door and then like froze. And now she is like, there is something.
Yeah.
And like I'm gonna try to like see what it is without like, so she's trying to be very perceptive but also stealthy, I guess you could call it that.
So as you're kind of like trying to figure out what it is, you hear a thump, like something good size just hit the floor out of your line of vision, but in that same direction. Like it sounds like it came from around the corner.
Like by like, yeah, I was gonna say, okay, it sounds like it came from over there.
Yeah. Why you think about it?
Yeah.
Everyone else will have a chance to react.
Yeah.
So the door has just closed. Lyra was like, "Be quiet," and shut the door. What is everyone else doing? You were all just getting ready to head out.
Fly through my hole.
Okay. As you fly through the hole, you don't see Lilith, or you don't see Lyra, and you notice that everything is dark out here except for the beam of light that is coming out from the room that you're in, or that you were just in.
Why can't this be the Feywild? Oh God. Dark. Guys, she's invisible. Probably a doppelganger. Lots of bad magic.
Are you talking about Lyra?
If that's her real name.
Okay, Twiggy's being extra paranoid today. I'm gonna go out and see what the commotion is about.
Okay. So as you open the door, more of Lilith's light spills out, kind of illuminating things better for you, Twiggy. Lilith, what are you doing?
I'm gonna make sure that my light hits everybody in some way, shape, or form.
Okay, so you're gonna head into the hallway?
I'm gonna head into the hallway, and that Twilight Sanctuary will grant everybody 1d6 plus 3 temporary hit points.
Okay.
FYI.
So everyone gets that effect, and as you head into the hallway, so Dizzy, it was weird because like as you stepped out, you didn't see Lyra, but as Lilith steps out, you realize Lyra's actually standing right next to you. You're not sure how you missed her. Lyra's just staring off towards that window.
Quick interruption out of character. Do you want us to take that 9, or do you want us to actually roll for that, for the temp?
What was the Lilith? What was the total?
It's what's up? 1d6 plus 3.
Okay. Let me roll that for you real quick.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you want us to
Bleh.
put that in?
4. Everyone gets 4.
Okay, so everybody gets 4. Okay.
4 tempies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Lyra, you don't notice them. What you do
Oh.
notice is a deer head comes like, not necessarily rolling because it has horns, but it kind of like gets tossed out onto the carpet.
Kind of like an uneven
here.
stone when you roll it. It's like
right. Something definitely like was trying to bowl this head, and it comes sliding out and hits this banister. There's a smear of darkness, like dark liquid on the ground behind it, because you. What's that?
Lyra knows what blood looks like.
Right, and you're using more of your dark vision right now to see it than anything else, and so you see it. You're pretty sure, like, it's coming from the head. What do you do?
Okay, so she doesn't see them as they come into the hallway?
You do not see them, yeah.
Does she, like, physically sense them? Because, like, it's not a particularly super wide hallway.
No, and you look back and you see, like, that beam of light coming out of the room, but you don't see any change behind you otherwise.
There's no physical presence, there's no... Like, she doesn't, like, hear them or anything. She's
Correct.
She thinks there's this beam of light, but she's also alone. It's kind of like...
Right, yeah, the beam of light was from the hole. Like, it's coming from Lilith, sorry. It's coming from Lilith, but it's coming through the hole that Twiggy knocked in the door. So you know that Lilith is still there in the other room.
Right, but
oddly,
she can't see that.
They're doing what you said, which was being quiet.
Huh.
For now.
Okay.
But other than that, you don't notice anything.
So the deer head came to, like, here, you said?
So it would have come to rest
Or, like,
right
into the
around
banister.
here.
Sorry, you said into
yeah.
the banister. Yeah, okay. You said into the banister. Lyra being Lyra is going to sneak forward. She's going to kind of come, like, over here, right? Maybe, like, a little bit further down.
Mm-hmm.
So she's, like, against a wall type of thing, right? And she is going to peek her head. No, she doesn't like her head. No, she doesn't want to use her head. She's a little bit smarter than that. She's gonna kind of like put her hand, right, like
Gotcha.
like around. Yeah, not as fast,
right.
But you know, just kind of like around the corner a little bit, right? Just down in like around the edge of the wall to see if like she's gonna like put it out and take it back to be like if something like swipes after it type of thing, right? You know.
So you like reach the edge and you put your hand out to see if anything is like gonna jump out because of it or whatever. Nothing does, but it's around that time that you realize that breathing noise isn't coming from around the corner any longer. It's coming from right around here.
So where the animal head
Yeah.
kind of landed?
Yeah, and as you look at it, its eyes are like wide and wild, and it looks at you, and it kind of rights itself and begins to float up, and there's just like gore pouring out of the back of it.
Out loud, she goes, "Oh, this is fun."
And the rest of
So
you,
she is. Yeah.
you're staring there. You're standing there staring at Lyra, who's just like standing in place, staring off. And then a faint glow appears in the hallway down here, and you notice what looks like a large ghostly stag walks around the corner. It's mottled, like its fur is all messed up, almost with age or like disease or something, and there's like this weird slime kind of dripping off of it, and it pools on the ground below it. And as it stares at the four of you, and Lyra sees a floating deer head that appears to have been lopped off recently, we're gonna end this episode. And we're gonna end next week with Roll Initiative.
Yeah.
Great.
So,
Lyra knocked her head and now she's hallucinating.
Excellent. Any thing that you need to bring up before we end this episode?
Where's the
Die.
kitchen?
There's
Where's
a
the
reason
kitchen
Lyra's
ghost
a big
at?
sharing.
I think Dizzy is kind of realizing sort of that something's going on now.
Something's not natural about this place. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I will have to make a note of what I plan on doing, I guess, next time.
Nice. And we'll do a recap just so everyone remembers. But if you're watching live, join us this Saturday at 2:30 p.m. for We Get to Play. We're going to be doing Kobold Press's Necropolis of the Mailed Fist, which is it's actually a super brutal tournament level thing that people do at conventions, but I figured we'd try that out. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Everyone be safe. Take care.
Bye, guys.